the disconnection between science and education is so extreme that, on one side, the scientists are saying, well, there are these brain development issues that have specific impact on learning to read. And here's some brain pictures, and here's some genetic evidence, and here's the white matter tracks that are not as reliable. And I mean, it's a pretty detailed story. And on the other side, you have educators who say, the prominent educators that the teachers look to for the authoritative statements about these, saying, dyslexia is a hoax, it's just an excuse for poor teaching. And so these are the heads of, the various organizations and so on the education side who have teach their prospective teachers that dyslexia is just something you can ignore because it was just a term that was invented to, pathologize bad teaching and kids who are failing. I can't, this is just mind-boggling to me. I can't understand what those people are thinking. There are facts. There are data. I guess it's another situation in which people have developed these beliefs for some reason, and then if you can show them a bunch of facts that challenge their core beliefs, they don't suddenly go, oh, I needed to rethink that. They dig in further. So you do have, in the education world, teachers look to a number of these authority figures for guidance when a new finding comes out in the research literature, or, how should I think about dyslexia? How should I think about this or that finding? And the view on that side is dyslexia is nothing for you to be concerned with. You teach children to read. Some of them struggle. Some of them do find it easy. And your job is to just cope with the range of circumstances and kids that you're confronted with. And the fact that some of those kids, whether some of those kids have a condition, so-called, that interferes with reading, has no impact on what you do whatsoever. On the science side, we say, no, if you understand the causes of why this kid is struggling, and there could be several, then that will inform how you intervene with that kid, what you focus on and what you don't focus on. So to me, there's like a know-nothing attitude on the education side about dyslexia, and the net result is what we know happens in state after state. Kids who really are dyslexic. I mean, there's a family history of dyslexia. There's a sibling with dyslexia. There's kid is struggling or showing the signs, early behavioral indices of being at risk for developing reading problems. There's all the evidence suggesting that this kid's got a constitutional thing and we need to intervene as soon as we can. It's just not, it doesn't happen because there's no feeling that there's any urgency to it on the education side. Well, the kid will come in, maybe they're reading, maybe they're not, we'll deal with it. I think this has been really terrible, and we all know story after story of people who struggled with reading, and then when they were 14, somebody said, oh, you might get a workup because you seem to be a classic dyslexic, and how many people never get that identification, and how many of them never get the help the interventions that would help a great deal, a very high percentage of kids if they got quality intervention at a reasonably young age. So to me, this is a scandalous thing. It's very hard to understand intellectually. How can one group think that this is one of the great success stories of cognitive neuroscience. We can understand dyslexia from the behavior down to, its brain and how the brain develops. That's pretty good science. And another side saying, it was just something that somebody made up to excuse poor teaching. We really just need to teach children, and the labels don't matter. Can't understand it. And who is it that's harmed by this?